You know that friend who always avoids crowded places? The one who says, it's too packed, let's go somewhere quieter, or just doesn't show up at all? Yeah, that friend isn't being difficult, they're protecting something. If you're someone who feels your energy drop the moment a place gets loud, chaotic, and full of people, welcome. You're about to feel very seen. And today, we're breaking down the psychology of people who hate crowds, the ones society calls antisocial, but psychology sees very differently. Here's the thing. Crowds aren't just a lot of people. For some brains, they're sensory overload. Noise stacking on noise, voices overlapping, movement in every direction, no space to breathe, think, or just exist. For some people, that doesn't feel exciting. It feels exhausting. Psychologists link this to something called sensory processing sensitivity. Some nervous systems are simply more reactive. They take in more information, more deeply, more intensely. So while one person feels energized in a packed concert, another feels overwhelmed in 5 minutes. It's not attitude, it's wiring. Now let's talk about control. In a crowd, you lose it. You can't control the noise, you can't control the space, you can't even control how long it takes to leave. You're stuck in unpredictability. And for people with anxiety or even just a strong need for mental clarity, that lack of control is draining. Quiet environments give them something crowds take away, a sense of safety. Here's something interesting. People who dislike crowds often have a higher need for personal space, mentally and physically. They think more, they observe more, they process everything more deeply. And crowds interrupt that process. It's like trying to read a book while 10 TVs are playing at once. You're not relaxed, you're fragmented. Now, society tends to misunderstand this. We glorify packed parties, busy cities, loud events. We associate crowds with fun, popularity, and living life. But what if your version of living feels better in calm, open, quiet spaces? What if peace feels richer than noise? That's not boring. That's alignment. But there's another side to this. Some people avoid crowds not because they prefer calm, but because crowds trigger something deeper. Social anxiety, past experiences, the fear of being judged, watched, or overwhelmed. For them, crowds aren't just uncomfortable, they're mentally exhausting before they even arrive. So it's worth asking yourself, do you hate crowds because you value peace, or because they make you anxious? Because one is preference, the other might need healing. But for those who simply don't enjoy crowds, they're not missing out. They're just choosing differently. They find joy in smaller spaces, deeper conversations, moments where they can actually hear themselves think. They don't need 100 people around them to feel alive. A quiet cafe, a walk alone, a meaningful one-on-one conversation. That's enough. Psychologists sometimes call this a low stimulation preference. These people don't need constant external input because their inner world is already active. So if you're someone who avoids packed places, who feels relief when plans get less crowded, who would choose calm over chaos every single time, you're not antisocial. You're selective with your energy. And in a world that never stops moving, that might actually be your strength. Tell me, do crowds energize you or drain you?